Board members, staff, guests, my name is Eamon O'Donnell and I'm a tradesman. I hold 3 trades licenses, a refrigeration air conditioning license, a sheet metal license, and a gas fitter 1 license. I've worked in the building and service industry for the last 25 years, and in that time I've been involved in the building of 2 high schools, 4 elementary schools, and the renovation of 3 existing schools, along with many commercial, institutional, and industrial projects. I'm here to challenge the $30 million listed in the recap data for upgrades and repairs at Sherwood High School. I read with interest the article in Raise the Hammer by Mary Louise Piggott. According to a 2007 staff report, the maintenance of these buildings was determined using RECAP, Renewal Capital Asset and Planning Process, which is a ministry-mandated facilities management software program. RECAP is intended to trigger inspections as building components reach the end of their life cycles. When this method is used to calculate the maintenance and operating costs of existing facilities without the necessary accompanying on-the-ground studies, it grossly overinflates the cost of keeping older buildings. As our counterparts at the Dalewood Arc spoke to you a few weeks ago, we cannot find any indication in our documentation that the recap numbers were qualified by on-the-ground assessments of the building's actual conditions. I am a tradesman, and I've decided to employ a new research tactic, one that seems to be absent from the Hamilton-Wentworth District School Board approach. I talked to community members, including the board's own staff, other tradesmen, as well as engineers. They all agree that the repairs that were cited in the list were either not necessary or did not require immediate attention. I have taken the trouble to find out as much about the condition of Sherwood as I can and estimate if we were to spend between $800,000 and $1.2 million now, future expenses would be quite manageable. Now I'd like to talk about some of the numbers that are in the recap list. We have the interior lighting has been upgraded in the early 2000s. So we don't have to spend $1,511,280. The cooling towers, and these are just points from the recap list. I'm not going to go through every one of them because there's 89. I'm going to pick out some of the larger items and I'm going to give you some ideas of what we're talking about. The cooling tower controls were changed when the new cooling tower was installed 7 to 8 years ago. And I know that because I watched them put it in. I live across the street. In the business that I'm in, we don't change out gas piping. We inspect it. And if it needs to be corrected, we correct it. So there's another $147,985 that does not need to be spent. There is no computer room cooling unit at Sherwood. So there's another $103,741 that does not need to be spent. The control system for the heating and air conditioning system in the school has been upgraded in early 2000. Another $1,190,877 that we do not need to spend. This leads us to the upgrades to the AHUs. And for you, a lot of people who don't understand what those are, they are air handling units. That's what delivers our heating and cooling air to the buildings. We've had VFDs installed on these units, which provide energy savings. VFDs are variable frequency drives, and that's what operates our motors. And this all ties in with the control system, and along with the upgraded lighting. Thus, we reduce our power demand, which means we don't need to replace our primary switchgear at a cost of $148,182. Our secondary switchgear at $475,675. And this is all to do with the electrical distribution in the building itself. And if I mention anything twice, it's because it's listed twice in the recap numbers. Secondary switchgear, $111,138. Secondary transformer, another $398,953. Cable raceways and bus ducts, $594,594. Cable raceways and ducts, $3,186,638. We were looking at possibly having a $10,000 study to look into the electrical systems of the school. I think maybe that would be money well spent. We also have to replace a primary transformer at $159,581. These items do not have to be replaced. And if they do, we should do a study on them first. And the pricing is outrageous. Now, back to the air handling units. We don't replace air handling units in buildings when the units are inside. We service them. And I come from the service industry where we service this equipment. And I have priced and serviced this equipment myself. Air handling units are large steel boxes with blowers, essentially, with coils and dampers in them. All these parts can be replaced and upgraded. That will take another $1,795,388 out of the 2010. And again, we're asking, the recap numbers have us replacing it again in 2019. That just isn't done. We also have the same with the gym unit and another central air handling unit, priced at $158,558 and $59,459. This just isn't done. Somebody needs to look at these numbers and really explain why this is happening. The heating and cooling piping systems, they have no issues because we know it works. I have talked to people. And they've had proper chemical treatment from day one when they were installed. That's how these systems last for such a long time. There was a new chemical feed system installed in the early part of 2000, which saves another $25,976. And because we don't have to replace the heating and cooling piping because it's been treated properly, which I'm sure that has happened, which happens at all of our schools, there's another $1,481,954 that we don't have to spend. I'm making up a quote for you for replacing a boiler. Just a quick quote, because I know we've had one of the boilers replaced at the school. There's two more that are probably, maybe need to be replaced, maybe not. They need to be inspected first. But let's say, if we had to replace a boiler, and I'm gonna give you a realistic quote, considering this is a very challenging job. I'm going to allow for $40,000 in labor. That's 400 man hours. I'm gonna allow $20,000 for the price of a boiler. I'm gonna give a 10% markup. And with tax, we're at about $76,384, not $427,000. Times two for two boilers, that would be spending. So, not, with all these items I've just added up here, we're at $15,935,116. Now, if I had more time, I'd go through a quote I've made up for what items actually need to be addressed and repaired at this time. But I see that Mr. Simmons is putting the sign up. Was that 2 minutes? So I still got time? Let's look at this. We need to replace the asphalt driveway at the rear of the school, $15,000. Exterior siding, everybody knows that needs to be done. So let's look at something a little better than stucco. Anywhere between $100,000 and $150,000, the school. Some doors need to be replaced. Now, $50,000. All the windows in the school, anywhere from $150,000 to $200,000. We put these jobs out for tender, and we're gonna get good competitive quotes. The roof on the gym and the courtyard, that needs to be replaced. Anywhere from $100,000 to $150,000. Let's put it out for tender. The terrazzo repair. We have a small crack at the ramp heading into the gym. I'm done.
Thank you very much for some compelling information. Any questions for clarification? Trustee White.
I'm just wondering, Mr. Chair, if there's a way to capture some of that data. I know there wasn't a written submission that was included with the presentation, have a lot of data, and I certainly don't work in the industry, but that's something that I'd like to perhaps read. So is it possible to get the presenter to submit some of the information?
I will forward you my notes
That'd be great.
from this.
Okay,
I'll
so we
forward it
do
to all
want
the, I'll email all the trustees with my notes.
I was just going to say, you could just email Heather Miller and she forwards it to us as well, but if you
Okay.
want a copy, so that's fine. Okay. Any other questions, any other thoughts? Okay, appreciate that. Thank you for coming down with some of that information. Somebody move receipt of the presentation? Thank you, Trustee Simmons. Seconded, Trustee Orban. All in favor of receipt of the presentation? That is unanimous. Thank you.